Today we will discuss the main topic is speed control of shunt machine. What are the various methods to control the speed of a shunt motor and which one is the best one. Okay, so shunt motor, I'll draw once again the circuit diagram. Right, so this is supplied from supply voltage Vt. It is drawing load current, and this is armature current, and this is field current. Right, field is having field resistance Rf, and armature is having armature resistance Ra, and it has induced EMF Ea. Right, so the governing equations Vt is equals to Ea plus Ia Ra. Okay, and coming to the shunt circuit, so If is equals to Vt by Rf. Right, supply, this is supply voltage, so Vt is constant, so Vt by Rf is If is constant. Right, and now let us first again just to review the 3 points. So how does a shunt motor respond to a load? How does a shunt motor respond to a load change? This is what I would like to pose question to all of you. So there is a load, there is a mechanical load connected to the motor. Right, now I am assuming that the supply is connected to the motor through a starter. Okay, and it is now running at a particular speed, at no load speed. Let us assume that there is no load initially and it is running at a no load speed. Now suppose what happens if I increase the load torque? If I increase the load torque, what happens to the motor? Let us study how does it behave or how does it respond. Right, so what happens, tell me, if load torque is increased suddenly, initially the tau induced and the load torque are both are equal and it is running at a steady speed, constant speed. Now suddenly I increase the load torque. So when there is an imbalance in torques, then the speed will fall. As the load torque is increasing, then the induced torque, the speed falls. So when speed falls, back EMF induced in the machine falls. When back EMF, which is actually opposing the supply voltage, terminal voltage, decreases, then the armature current, which is actually Vt minus Ea by Ra, when this goes down, this increases, Ia increases. Right, so when Ia is increasing, then induced torque, which is a function of phi and Ia, where phi is constant, K is a constant. Now as Ia is increasing, the torque induced in the machine slowly increases to the load torque, required load torque. So torque induced increases. Now when torque induced increases, the machine speeds up. Machine now speeds up. Okay, I will draw like this. Now this leads to increase in speed. When increase in speed again increases Ea and reduces Ia. So now a new operating point, it settles down to a new operating point such that the internal induced torque will raise to the required load torque. Right, required load torque. Right, now this Ia is sufficiently increased to a value such that the torque is raised to equals to TL, right? So when machine load on shunt motor increases, so the machine speed actually should fall, right? So it operates at lower speed to draw more amount of armature current, right? Now vaguely I said it will be something like this without deriving the equation. So speed versus torque induced, so it should speed decreases to develop more higher and higher torque. But what is the condition? I said there is no armature reaction. The flux C is almost constant. There is no effect on the flux. That is what I have said, right? So but in a practical machine, this flux is actually not constant. It actually alters when there is an armature reaction in the, as the load increases, load current IA increases, armature reaction also increases. When this armature reaction increases, net flux in the machine reduces. When net flux in the machine reduces, then EA, back EMF, also reduces based on this magnetization curve. Now it is not linear. This variation, this relationship is dependent on OCC, which is not a linear. Okay, so this is how the motor, shunt motor, behaves. Now I have said with armature reaction. Which armature reaction? It actually has a curve like this, speed versus torque curve. As torque increases, speed now actually, instead of having a straight drooping characteristics, it will be raising a bit. Now this is with armature reaction. Now why this raise in speed takes place for the increase in the load torque? That is what actually we have derived the equation. What is that equation? Omega is equals to Vt by, I have derived this in the last class, K phi minus Ra by K phi whole square into tau induced, right? Now so if phi is constant, then this would have been a straight line. This is Vt is constant, K is constant, phi is constant, Ra is constant, and K and phi is constant. So it represents a straight line with a negative slope. This is an intercept with this value, and the slope, negative slope with this value. But this phi is actually varying with the increase in load current or torque. Now this actually, with the reduction in the flux, what actually happens to this intercept, this constant, this value? Suppose I say the flux is reduced by small quantity. Now this intercept quantity is, this quantity denominator is reduced, so the overall value will increase. Overall value increases means the intercept value will be somewhere higher here. And what about the slope? Denominator value is reduced by square times, so the overall slope is again steeper. So that means the new characteristics, if I vary from again torque 0 to maximum torque with a reduced flux, then this would have been the new characteristics. with a higher intercept with a higher slope. So likewise, but this is what actually we are going to discuss in speed control. But armature reaction, this change in flux takes place along with the increase in the load torque. Now due to that, what is actually happens is, because of armature reaction effect, slowly as the load torque increases, the flux reduction takes place, and the denominator values reduces, and these intercept and the slope increases. So it will have a raise in speed. The machine will have a small raise in speed than the actual value without armature reaction. Now if I wanted to non-linear characteristics means so with the armature reaction, so we have some field MMF equivalent of armature reaction, right? So the net MMF in the machine will be the field MMF minus armature reaction MMF, right? So what is field MMF? Actually NF into IF, right, minus EF AR, and this is net MMF means NF into IF star, equivalent field current, equivalent field current, which is what actually we need to find out. So IF net is equals to, so I am dividing this, so I'll get IF, the actual field current, by armature reaction field MMF divided by NF. So this is the equivalent field current. So from the OCC, EA versus IF, you find out the corresponding voltage, induced voltage corresponding to IF star. Now this, let us assume that EA1, but what is the speed? This speed is at N1 rated speed. Now machine may be operating at different speed, so if it is operating at different speed, then I have to find out EA1 by EA1 by EA2. Let me write down like this: EA1 by EA2 is equals to N1 by N2. So if these two speeds are known, this is known from here, then I will be calculating EA2. So that is how, once I know the EA2, then I can calculate the armature current and hence the torque. Okay, so that is the background, how to take into account the armature reaction and how to calculate the new corresponding values. Now quickly I will move to the speed control. Speed control of DC shunt motor. So from the equation itself, omega is equals to Vt by K phi minus Ra by K phi whole square into tau induced. From the equation itself, we can say that we have, what are the variables in our control? Armature resistance can be varied, the supply voltage can be varied, and flux can be varied, right? Okay, so we can have three methods. One is by varying field circuit resistance RF, and other one is by varying supply terminal voltage VT, and the third one is by not varying but by inserting external resistance in armature circuit. That is, I write like this, RA. Okay, so 1 and 2 are normally common methods which normally they employ in practice, but third method is not very common. Okay, wherever there is a small machine, okay, so we don't bother about the efficiency of the machine, then they go for third method. Okay, but in general for machines with moderate size and higher size, they go for first and second method, right? Now let us discuss the first method, change in field resistance. Okay, change in field resistance. So we will be keeping a external resistance in series with the field this is external resistance now which is varying. This is RF, and we have EA and RA. This is IA, IF, this is IL, right? This is motor. Now so what happens if external resistance is included? Initially it is 0. Now if I slowly increase the external resistance, immediately, because this is connected across the terminal voltage VT, this is VT here, from here to the here, so IF, which is actually VT by RF plus R external, as this is increasing, so IF decreases. Once IF decreases, field decreases, flux in the machine decreases, and which has effect on reduction on the internal induced EMF. Once internal induced EMF reduces, machine is already operating at some constant steady operating point. Under that moment, if I slowly increase the external resistance, these things are going to happen. Okay, so when EA decreases, then IA increases, because IA is equals to VT minus EA by RA. So when IA increases, what happens? Now see, tau induced is a function of K, phi and IA. With the increase in external resistance, flux is decreasing and increasing in armature current is taking place. There are two effects, right? So with the increase in external resistance, one is flux is reducing and armature current is increasing. Now which way? Now depending upon the percentage increase of flux, decrease of flux and percentage increase of armature current, based on these two, the induced torque either it raises or it lowers. Now which way it go? Whether it reduces or it increases. So to understand this, let us, I think I have given this example earlier also. Assume that this is 250 volts initially this is 245 volts, right? Armature resistance is 0.25 ohms, okay, and armature current is 20 amps initially. Is it right? Ia is equals to 250 minus 245 divided by 0.25. So this is 5 by 0.25. Okay. How much it comes? This is 20, right? 20 amps. Now suppose 1% of flux is reduced. 1% of flux is reduced, which implies that EA is equals to K, phi and omega. I assume that the speed is initially constant. So flux is reduced by 1% means EA is also reduced by 1%. So that is EA is reduced by 1%. Okay, that implies new EA, let me say EA2 is equals to 0.99 of earlier one. Earlier one is 245 into 245. So which comes to 242.55 volts. I am having the numerals. This is new EA. Now with reduction in flux, EA is reduced to this value. Now what will be the IA? New IA? Supply voltage is constant, 250 minus 242.55 divided by same armature resistance which is opposing. Now this will come to 29.8 amps. So earlier it is 20 amps, now it is 29.8, almost 10 amps is increased on 20. So it is IA2 is increased by almost 50%. Okay, so 1% reduction of flux, 50% increase in armature current is taking place. Since tau induced is the product of these two, because the IA is increasing much higher value, definitely the torque will increase. It will not decrease, but it will increase. So this is much greater value, increase in IA. So torque will first go in this direction, it will raise. So what is it happening? With increase in external resistance, flux reduces, but current increases tremendously, and hence the torque in the machine increases. So for a given load torque, torque induced in the machine is increased. So since torque induced is going higher than the load torque, definitely the speed increases. Right? So once the speed increases, slowly internally induced EMF raises and IA reduces. So it will be coming to a new steady operating point where the speed is higher than the earlier speed, at which the new torque will now again comes down to required load torque. Okay, so in other sense, I can draw here, that is if this is the earlier one, RF1, now sorry, okay, so you can understand from the equation as well, which is Vt by K phi minus Ra by K phi square into tau induced. So with the increase in external resistance, phi reduces, so denominators both reduces, then intercept increases, slope increases. So this is RF2. RF2 is greater than RF1, right? So we have a higher intercept and more negative slope like this. So white one is having less slope, and the yellow one is having bit more steeper slope. Okay, can you see? Right. So the equation itself clearly explains with reduction in flux how the operating points, how the speed torque, this is speed versus torque induced graph changes, right? So these are all the reasoning how what happens in the machine, how the all other parameters vary, right? Now this is normally the T rated 0 to minimum no load point to rated load point. So under this region, these two graphs do not intersect each other. But what is happening here up to here, with the increase in external resistance, flux decreases and torque increases. Torque increases means for a given torque, earlier it is operating at this point, now it is operating at this point. So for a given same load torque, the machine speed will increase and it will operate at higher speeds to develop the same torque. For a given torque, earlier it was without any external resistance, it is operating at this point. Now with increase in external resistance, it is going to higher speed value at this level. That is how you have to interpret, right? But the graph also shows that these two graphs are actually crossing each other. There is a they are crossing each other, right? Now what happens when as the loading increases till machine stalls, right? Now these graphs change over, they cross over like this. Now the white graph shows the actual plot without external resistance. Now the yellow graph shows with external resistance. Now during this region from here to here, what is actually happening? Tell me. So for any given load torque, earlier it was operating at this speed, but new speed is lower than the earlier speed. But here it is happening actually opposite side. Speed is increasing here and speed is decreasing here. Then the actual value due to actually what is happening. Now I have said here the effect of flux reduction is more severe than the effect of or change in armature current. So I said initial during this region the flux reduction is very small, but IA is very large up to here. But from here onwards the flux reduction is very high, the armature current variation is very small. Due to that what is happening, the torque induced actually reduces and the speed falls than the actual value. That is what you have to understand from this graph. Okay, so this is all about the field control. Field control. So so from no load to rated load, if I want to operate above the rated speed, then the field current is best choice. Are you following? Between the no load to rated load, if I want to operate above rated speed, then field control is best choice. Okay, now coming to the next one, change in, what is the next one? What was that? It is supply voltage. Next one is supply voltage, change in supply voltage. But remember, it should not, or without changing the applied voltage to field circuit. So field circuit should not, actually, see, for shunt machines, right? For shunt machines, this is VT. If I change the supply voltage here, the field circuit voltage will also change. This also changes, right? And hence IF also changes. So we are not going to control in that way. We are actually will be keeping this voltage as it is. We will be controlling the by some means here, controller. Okay, we are going to control the applied voltage to armature. This is a new voltage, a controller voltage we see, which is below the rated voltage VT. And the field circuit voltage is still VT only. There is no change in field circuit voltage, which is constant, and IF is also constant. But only we are trying to control the voltage applied to the armature through some controller, right? You have to remember this one. Now what happens if I suppose VT in the sense the applied voltage to the armature only, increases. So VT increases, it means IA increases. Then torque induced in the machine increases, which increases the speed, and which increases the induced EMF in the machine. And further, slowly a new operating coil will come with reduction in the armature current. So these are the sequences of change in all other parameters. Now simply I can draw, if this is the normal curve, omega versus tau induced with some rated VT, right? Now if I increase the VT, the speed will be higher like this. So this is VT2 greater than VT1 or VT rated, if this is VT1 rated value. Okay, so as I increase the supply voltage, it goes on like this. Or if I decrease, it will come down. This is VT4, which is less than VT1. Okay, so that is how I can control the graphs over a wide range with the change in supply voltage. Okay, so for any given torque, load torque, I can operate at this speed, I can operate at this speed, I can operate at this speed, and I can operate at these speeds. Okay, with the change in supply voltage. Okay, but only the thing is I need to have a extra controller which I can only change or alter the applied voltage to the armature, but not to the field circuit. Field circuit voltage should remain same. Okay, so this is the other way, right? So from the equation as well, omega is equals to Vt by what is a k phi minus Ra by k phi square into tau induced. So with the increase in Vt, the slope remains same but intercept changes. So that means the graph is where it can be moved up and down, right? With the variation in the Vt, the slope is same but I can change the intercept. That means the graph can be moved up and down like this by varying the supply voltage. So this is the other best method of controlling the shunt motor. Now normally we cannot increase the applied voltage to the armature above its rated value. So the higher end is fixed. Higher end is fixed to some value here, but it can be varied. It can be varied only below like this, because VC cannot go more than Vt, but only it can reduce below Vt. So this is how for a given torque I can operate at lower speeds than the normal this speed, right? So the change in supply voltage is the best method to have speed control below rated speeds. Followed? So above rated speeds, field control is the best way. Below rated speeds, change in supply voltage is the best method. Now coming to the third method, which is not so common, I'll draw here itself. Okay, so simply put armature resistance. Simply insert armature external resistance in the armature circuit, right? So I am going to now vary this component in this equation. So what is going to happen here? If I vary the numerator of this slope component, definitely intercept will remain same, but slope increases, negative slope will increases. So the characteristics will be, if initially it is like this, now the new characteristics will be like this. This is RA1. Let me take RA1 without any external resistance. RA2 is with some external resistance added in the armature circuit like this. RA4 with the increase in external resistance like this. Okay, so yeah, still I can have for any given load torque, initially it is operating at this point, this speed. Now I can operate at different speeds, right? Different speeds. But what is the main drawback in this method is that with the insertion of this armature resistance, external resistance, because the armature current is flowing through this external resistance as well, and this current is armature current is very large in magnitude. So the I square losses, I square armature resistance plus R external, so these losses will be very large. So losses increases in this method and efficiency reduces. So that is the main drawback. So if I want to have a speed control through this method, I will be losing my efficiency of the motor, whereas the other two earlier methods, there is very small deviation in the efficiency. So these all we will be seeing in speed control, how to find out the speed as well as the efficiency calculations. Now, so today we have seen how to have a speed control of a shunt DC motor. So majorly field control and armature voltage control methods are the two commonly used methods, and the third one, armature resistance control, is not so commonly used because it incurs high armature losses and lowers the efficiency of the machine. Okay, shall I stop here?